Hello, hello, hello. Ejo, welcome to another Monday night live stream. They say you'll never walk alone, which I suppose is true because there's two of us. But it's a shame that we couldn't bring any of our Liverpool boys in. What is a very special episode celebrating Liverpool's title win. So the onus is on one Barca fan and part-time Spurs fan, along with a Newcastle fan, to do justice to Liverpool's magnificent season, should say.
Yeah, I think I don't blame them either, right? That they're out in the beach celebrating is just about right, and I think it was also reflective of how their team turned up in London. Half of them were almost, you know, celebratory. They're almost tourists in London. And I think that's where it almost kills our Champions League hopes. But I think that's a different story. But to talk about Liverpool, they've done massively well in wrapping the title up as early as they did. Right, it was almost it wasn't a victory march. It was almost a procession because all of us knew that this was going to happen 2-3 months ago. Right, all of us called it. So that the title
We didn't
challenge
even
almost
know
petered.
how bad Arsenal and City have been.
Yeah, I think I just read a stat. Right, in the last 11 games, Arsenal have won just two or three games, which is not how you purport a what do you call it, a title challenge. But I think they have bigger fish to fry, as they would call it, right, in terms of their Champions League ambitions. So I don't blame them either. So, but yeah, massive congratulations to them. Massive congratulations to Arne Slot, who's almost showed the world that you don't have to spend so much of billions. You don't have to kind of do shady deals inside the book, outside the book, to get through and win a La Liga or a Premier League. Right? You just can be just playing by the books, do the best with whatever resources that you have.
Yeah,
And
yeah, just a couple of signings worth 400K a week, and what do you know? Next thing you have Premier League.
I don't think that many of them were 400K a week. So I think they did very well in making sure that all of these people that were, again, apparently looking on their way out, right? And all of them, he channelized all of their energies into winning the league, right? So Van Dijk was exceptional this season. Salah does what Salah always does, right? Score goals, assists, turns up in big moments. So I think he's just one of a kind player, special player. So I think kudos to Slot to kind of revamp their system or re-energize their system in a way where it suits their front three. And he's also figured out that Nunez, Jota, and Diaz put together can probably um, hit the post once in their lifetime, right? So that's how bad they are as far as forms go, right? Jota had always rated him, so I think maybe Jota with his injuries has declined. But the other two put together is as maverick as players go. So I think kudos to him to actually figure out who his starting 11 is, and who actually kind of work magic with him. And the midfield three is very technical. He lacks the physicality. That's why they lost the Carabao Cup with us. So I think they continue to kind of struggle with when teams get physical, like what they found out with Caicedo, Lavia, and Enzo yesterday, right? But all of those aside, I think it's just a work in progress, and that this work in progress has already won them a league means so much. So yeah, all round massive congratulations to them.
Absolutely. So where would you rank this win in terms of, the greatest Premier League primes, given the context, given the form of other clubs and whatnot?
It'll do massive injustice to them to rank them anywhere. Right? It's a clickbait question, so I think I'll try and side from it. But I want to say it is massive to the extent where we all thought Arsenal, City are almost locked in a two-horse race, right? And that we didn't see uh, Liverpool being anywhere close to challenging for the title. Although they did mount up a challenge even the last year, right? Almost kind of was in the mix until January, and then everything petered out. That this year it's been a lot more forceful. It's been a lot more single-minded from them in how they have focused on the Premier League and making sure that they advance through. What do you call it? Get through the last few months with a very, very good, very healthy position, right? So I want to say, to that extent, that there's a new manager come in with very little spending, done what he's done. It is special, but I don't want to rank it any which ways. But that's where I leave it.
Ajay says, win not good enough to even be ranked. Updated title to make sure my clickbait is still
Yeah.
doing its job. One more player that we have to talk about before we move on, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Liverpool's 20, Trent's 20 years at the club. How are you like a 24, 25-year-old player and you have spent 20 years in a Premier League club? So much noise around his departure, of course. Very understandable frustrations. Uh, well, I guess you will be relieved more than anything knowing that Newcastle doesn't have to face his marauding runs up and down next season.
It's not so much about his runs; it's about his passing range, right? That's special, right? Even yesterday, there are passes that he could see that very few people in the pitch could see, which is very special. And I think Real would be richer with it. All right, having him play quarterback with those three runners up front will just be a joy to watch next season, right?
Yeah, so this
They
is
can unlock potential
European
from
football,
they kind of.
Ajay, not US football. Can you please explain quarterback in soccer terms?
No, I meant someone who can release those three runners, right? Someone who can pick these passes from deep. I hope he plays midfield. Like I don't think he'll be lost at right back at Real Madrid, right? I hope they play him and Valverde and I don't know between Camavinga and Chouameni, one of those two in the midfield, where you have dynamism, you have directness, and you have physicality. All three it ticks in the box, right? And I think that's where he will come to life. Is what my thinking is. He can still continue to play in the inside right channel, but yeah, that's on him playing at Real Madrid. But what it means to Liverpool, I want to say, yeah, right. Like it's almost a food chain. Right? Whether you like it or not, it is a food chain. So the likes of Jamie Carragher, who's now today come out and said, "Oh, you don't have to tell how Liverpool fans feel about Trent Alexander-Arnold. We have every right to feel angry and this thing, upset about TAA." I only want to say you get what you give, right? So if you as a pundit talk about other players and other teams and how they should be feeling about losing an Isak or a Gordon or a Hall, you come out and openly talk about them having to kind of move teams to advance their careers. The same will happen to your player, right? Because there's almost always another big team just around the corner. So you can never be too good for too long, unless you're Real Madrid, of course.
Or Barcelona.
Had to do these. I'm just throwing punches at you. I don't know for what reason, right? But yeah, I want to say it is justified. But when you look at the player's ambition, he wants to win the Ballon d'Or. It's more easy to do it in the La Liga, because if you look at the votes that you get from South America or distant part in, like, for example, Eastern Europe, more people watch Real Madrid, Barcelona, right? And therefore, there's a huge chunk of votes that will come in from there that you can influence, right? So therefore, if he does well, if he's as good as he thinks he is, he thinks there's a good shot of him winning it at Real Madrid. So yeah, I think it's a valid choice, and I think he's given it. Except for his defensive side, I think he's given it 100%. His defensive side, it comes with. I'd probably put it as 66%, the reflective of the jersey number on his back. That's how good he is as a defender. 66% is just about right. Two-thirds a defender, more an attacker, right? So I think it's they can only be grateful for what he's done for the team, right? And how well he's managed to kind of be the creative spark amongst all of that heavy metal that Klopp brought to Anfield.
Yeah, absolutely. As much as it sucked for me to see a player of Trent's quality end up playing Barca twice a season, we all know what happened the last time he did that. Uh,
Genie
see, at the end of the day,
Wijnaldum!
at the end of the day, fans stay and professionals move on. That's how it works.
Yep.
We understand your frustration as a supporter of the club, but as a professional where you change, 4 or 5 jobs over a 10-year span in your career, how is it fair for you to ask somebody else to stay at a one job for the rest of their lives, right? Sometimes you just have to uh, separate the emotions from the
That's how life
logic
is.
of the
I think
situation. Yeah,
exactly. I think like I want to say like, to all of those Liverpool fans complaining, grow up, right? Grow up and man up, right? Not man up, but adult up. So that's all that we'd have to leave them with.
yeah. All right. It's Liverpool, Arne Slot, Trent, Alexander, Arnold. Just stick to I have to stick to something because I have a feeling I'll end up talking more about him going forward.
Hmm.
Uh, Top five race. So the latest in while we were just putting the stream together is Nottingham Forest drew against Crystal Palace.
Not Drew. They're still
Just
playing. They're still playing. 38 games. 38 minutes into the game. I'm watching it on the side.
yes, the stuff. That
Yeah.
was on Google, not me. Very poor user experience there. Assuming that it ends up, which is unlikely, considering how better for compared with as of now, we have Arsenal ready and through. Manchester City, yes, more or less, they're gonna be in the UCL mix. I'd say it's between Newcastle, Chelsea, maybe throw in Aston Villa in case of the teams
No, I think
gets
Aston
further.
Villa are also in, right? So it's all of those five teams that are heavily locked in. And I want to say because, like for example, we play Chelsea, and Chelsea also plays Nottingham Forest, and for example, Arsenal play us and Liverpool. Um, uh, Nobody is getting too far away, right? It's going to be decided in the last few minutes of the last game. I can see that very clearly.
Exciting.
It's going to be exciting. It's you call it exciting, but for the teams that are involved in it, it's nerve wracking. Right? So
No, be.
it is nerve wracking, and I want to say uh, some of these teams have picked up momentum at the right time. Like for example, Chelsea yesterday, it was just a throwaway win, right? They turned up for Liverpool turned up for the guard of honor and then pretty much left. So it was just like yeah, Chelsea didn't even have an opponent to beat. So it was like that much of a non-competition yesterday. So that what that leaves them with is two good home wins to then go into the fixture with Newcastle next week, albeit away from home. For Newcastle, that loss at Aston Villa was like a punch in the gut, but I think we have managed to recover. So we won what 21 out of the last 26 games, and I think if only we had drawn some of the other games, we would have been in a better position. But we won 21 out of the last 26. It is as good a record in Europe as anybody else, right? So that is good form. I think we have also showed this season that we can dust ourselves from bad defeats, right? And that this Brighton game was something that we all feared could be a defeat. That we came through that game with a point is a big win, right? It's almost like it's like a win. because what it leaves us with is, if you look at the goals for and against, uh, for example, Nottingham Forest and Villa. Let's just assume that Forest lose today, all right, against a very good Crystal Palace team at home, right? If they remain on 60, they'd have to get not just two results; they have to get three results to beat us, right? So let's assume we win against Chelsea next game. So that then leaves us with 66, which means that even if they get to 66, it'll mean nothing because we'll have a superior goal difference. So that point was massive in that sense, right? All that we're asking for is Crystal Palace to do us a favor, and put one over Nottingham, and not do go the Liverpool way, because they again have bigger fish to fry, because they're going to be in the FA Cup final, Crystal Palace, in a couple of weeks from today. So I hope they turn up. From the looks of it, it seems like it's still an evenly contested game. So if they win, then I think what it does do is leaves us with 3 points to the good, and with a very healthy, what do you call it, goal difference, right? And I think another thing it just seems striking in this is they have 66 goals, which is the third most goals in the league, right? And all of that, just thinking about hullabaloo about Newcastle being a physical team and a team that
WWE.
WWE tag that we've got. It just shows that how much of casual fans don't really watch us, right? People who don't just turn up for a few games and then see the physicality, and just because their teams are softies, right, softer than a McDonald's softie, they can't deal with some of the hard stuff, right? So yeah, tough luck. That's how life is again, right? So for us to kind of score 66 goals, we were second to Liverpool again last season. We scored 85 goals. This season it is 66. So I think in all likelihood we'll finish up with 70 plus goals. Just great going by Eddie Howe, right? Considering we were 13th in December. To then get on this run is a massive this thing to Eddie Howe, how well he's done. That is us. Aston Villa again. They've had us. They've had up and downs with the Paris Saint-Germain game also, right? It's just been two steps forward to one step back. I think they've just kind of struggled with that momentum. But that win against Fulham, who are also competing or who are also fighting for a European slot, and winning that 1-0 is a massive boost in their arm, right? But what Villa have is their next three games are against a Bournemouth team that is also fighting for Europe, right? And Manchester United and Tottenham, and two of those are away games. Manchester United and Tottenham again. I don't think they're playing the league anymore. They're almost kind of everybody's out. It's jailed abroad. Everybody's everybody is outside in Europe, trying to win the Europa League. Nobody is even bothered to return back. It's like Brexit, the reverse. Brexit in the reverse, right? They've not landed in UK, so they're just coasting because it doesn't really matter. The league doesn't matter. Whoever wins, it's a one-game shootout to win the Europa League and qualify for Champions League. Right? They're trying to get that
Yes.
backdoor entry.
No
And
relegation.
no relegation,
No
nothing.
fighting for scraps, the
Yeah,
fifth place or fourth place, with all the
no
consistency.
consequences. Right? No consequences
Man,
to anything that they're
imagine
doing.
being 15th and 16th and guaranteed a one Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, and Manchester United being the masters of backdoor entries, I think they'll try and conjure up whatever they need to win it, right? Uh,
Yeah,
so that is Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest again. They've suffered the most. They're the team with the least momentum going into this. They've really struggled to get any sort of momentum going in the last 4 or 5 games, right? So that is something that hopefully with this win at Crystal Palace they can change it. But if they lose, then it puts their position in a very perilous spot, right? They could have comfortably been second had they kind of continued the same momentum that they had pre April. Right now that they are languishing in sixth, which is like a big drop, right? But yeah, I think it's like you said, it's all tightly packed. City being City, they just turn up in March, April, May, man. That the team is just so tuned up to kind of, as soon as the sun comes up, you just know that this City team will also turn up, right? Suddenly you have De Bruyne coming back to form. Suddenly you have what do you call it, Marmush putting a great shift. Then you have someone like Doku doing what he needs to do to kind of assist KDB. It's not like they're back to their best, but they're doing just enough to what do you call it, win games. And what it will do is if we get a result over Arsenal, all right, a draw or a win, it puts City in prime position to qualify second, right, for all of the Arsenal title challenge. If they finish third,
That'd be
then
hilarious.
it'll be such a story to tell. But again, I think their only hope right now is to win the Champions League to kind of put some, or color this season with some glory. So that's City. So like I said, all five teams locked in with a 4 point difference, 3 games to play, 3 teams playing each other. It's just it's like it's proper story, and I think the last game of the season will just be massive. People will be on the radio. People will be like listening into all kinds of scores, watching 3 games in a split screen, all kinds of hilarious stuff. It's going to be super funny, and there'll be no. I want to say there'll be oohs and ahs all the time. I think there are 4 teams who can potentially influence it. So it'll be 4 games that people will have to watch simultaneously. So
All over at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea have done what they have to do.
no,
Now
yeah,
we
it's not
go
Chelsea.
Newcastle.
That's the thing. Chelsea are playing Nottingham Forest away in the last game.
Wow.
That game is going to be like a 1 game shootout again, right? So I
It's a
think it'll
pseudo
be like,
final,
yeah.
essentially.
We don't have the relegation thrill or the title challenge thrill this season, but this more than makes up for it. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, speaking of relegation, it's time to say bye to one of the all-time legends, thugs, whatever, however you want to call him. He has a lot of achievements to his name. The most recent being, being a Premier League referee for 11 seconds. We have to bid goodbye yet again to Jamie Vardy. Is
so
he retiring, by the way?
yeah, no, he's not retiring. He's still trying
Oh,
to find a club either in the Championship or in the Premier League. Let's see where that goes. I hope he kind of finds a team. I know, but some of these teams that are coming in from the Championship, they can do with a striker like Wadi coming in from the 80th minute, 70th minute, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, right? And his experience just kind of being the shithouse that he is, right? Just it'll just make up for great fun. And I think
yeah,
what didn't suit him was in Leicester being the focal man. He can be somebody's backup, right? He can still do a great job. I have no doubts about it. He still got that scoring touch in him. Not as good as what it was, but I think he's still a goal scorer, right? But yeah, what a story, what a fairy tale, it's so endearing, right? Someone who was working in a cement or bricklaying factory into his 20s, all right, playing in the not even in the National League, and then 4 years from then winning the Premier League and being the top goal scorer and being the absolute legend that he is, and continuously kind of score goals against everybody. Name any top defender in the Premier League, they've all struggled against him. Just his turn of pace, just his intelligence to kind of drop and then run and then turn and swivel and run the channel and then cut inside, all kinds of things, right? It was just magical. And watching him and Mahrez that season was, oh, yeah, it was just chef's kiss, right? They're so good in picking each other out. So yeah, I want to say if this is going to be his last season in the Premier League, it'll be such a shame to see him go down without a fight, because I also think he's a fighter, proper fighter, right? Someone who brings a lot of spirit, a lot of emotion into his games, and a lot of Gatorade energy to go with it too, right? Not Gatorade, I mean Red Bull energy to go with it too. All right, so highly
Going to
caffeinated, but
make a sponsorship call for that brand drop.
yeah, I want to say he's he's highly caffeinated, the kind of people that I really love. So, like he's a color and a character that the Premier League will be poorer for, right? If when he goes, but what a person, and what a legend.
Well, we also have to say goodbye to Southampton and Ipswich Town.
I
Have
want to
been
say,
like what
yeah,
a fall from grace, from 4 or 5 years back.
yeah,
Again, seeing the situation they find themselves.
I want to say that um, Southampton sold in one season they sold half their team to Liverpool, right? When you kind of put that much pressure on your manager, and you don't kind of reinvest, the Premier League is, let's be honest, right? It's become a money league. So if you don't invest in your squad enough, um, you're bound to go down. So that's where this route that Nottingham Forest have taken, in kind of taking the hit, taking a 3 point deduction or a 6 point deduction, and continuing to invest, right, in the hope that you'll be uh, better with that 6 point deduction, right? Which in terms of how well your players can perform and get you out of sticky situations. That is probably the route to go. And I think 2 seasons in a row, all three teams that have come up have gone down, which is almost showing that is Premier League a jump too far for the championship squads, right? We'll get to see with Leeds United again, very well coached team with a very good manager, Daniel Farke, someone that I rate. Likewise with Burnley too, right? Two good managers, two good teams. Both had different routes coming into the Premier League. Both have different positions of, I want to say, nostalgia or legacy within the Premier League. So that if it happens a third time, then there's definitely something wrong with the Premier League that needs to be corrected. You can't have um, teams coming up from the championship dropping ever so often. So then there has to be a different way in which you peg or calibrate money spending for those teams. You have to give them a longer lease to let them spend more to sustain and be a part of the Premier League, right? Or course correct is the word I was looking for. So I think, yeah, I think all said and done, Ipswich put on a very, very good show. They used to be one of my favorite teams in the late 90s, early 2000s, because their fans are amazing, right? Whenever I watched them on telly, I just absolutely loved that energy from Ipswich. So yeah, I think they've done themselves in put themselves in good showing is how I want to say that they've done really well in just saying that, hey, we are up for a fight. All of the games that they lost, they didn't lose without a fight. That's what you want from a what do you call it, from a relegation battling team, right? Southampton on the other end, they've just kind of petered out. At one point, they were almost odds on favorite to have the lowest Premier League points total at the
Big
end.
famous Derby trophy.
Correct. So that they've skated out of it, yeah, is okay. But I hope they don't go the Luton way, where they then get double relegated, right? With Luton dropping into League One yesterday. So I think that will put a big. Southampton are a big team, right, in the South Coast. So if they go back into League One, it will be a big what do you call it? Punch in the face for them, and for that city. But yeah, I want to say goodbyes and welcome to Burnley, Leeds, and I hope it's not Sunderland, the last club. Right, they're in the playoff finals, but I hope I'm going to be wearing the sky blue of Coventry, hoping that they put one over Sunderland and we don't have to talk about Sunderland ever.
Well, now I have to support Sunderland just for the heck of it.
Oh, just for Joby Bellingham, is it? Jude
Oh,
Bellingham.
I had no man. I don't care. I just want to see you sweat it out when I see them in the Premier League, even
Yeah.
if it means supporting. I like
No,
Bellingham, by the way, one of the
yeah,
more likable players from Madrid.
he's very real. Is what I want to say. I know it's called Real Madrid, but I think he's the only real player there in terms of bringing his heart and soul to every game. Right. Him and Valverde, of course. Valverde is my most favorite player in that squad, along with Modric. But yeah, I think back to Sunderland. Yeah, it'll be good to have them back, so just so that we can punch them a few times and then send them back home. So it's been a long time since we punched
Uh,
them, so it'd be good to kind of throw a few punches down the what do you call it, the Tyne River, and send them back south again.
All right. Well, that's a beautiful summary of what is at stake for the relevant clubs and Manchester United.
Mm.
Oh, thank you so much for walking me through. Oh, God. I'm gonna get punched by a United fan one of these days. Maybe Casemiro, maybe somebody else.
Yeah, but I want to say I don't think those are clubs that have been. I want to say they're too big to go down, right? That's what they said of Newcastle United until we went down in 2008. But in our case, we didn't have finances as big as Tottenham or
Exactly.
Manchester
The
United, right? Yeah.
Premier League deck is in such a way that,
Mm.
I mean, it's like what
Post,
uh, Costanza says about Kramer, right? Do nothing, fall last backwards into money. Most food off your neighbors.
yeah.
That's a fantasy game.
I want to say,
I
talking
get
of
the
George, yeah, talking of George Costanza, I only want to say this, right? Sometimes your luck kills you twice. And in my case, I really hope it doesn't kill me the second time with Manchester United getting Europa League and qualifying for Champions League, and we get knocked out of the Champions League spots, right? Then I'll be a proper Costanza. In fact, I'll be his dad, and then be shouting "Serenity now" through every single this thing, right? Because yeah, it's something that means that I will not turn up on any podcast for another 4 months. That'll be the death of me.
Yeah, what is the fun of it? We have already lost United fans to the cause.
Which
We can't
United?
afford to
Newcastle
lose
United or Leeds United or Manchester United? Be clear. They don't go
Manchester.
by don't go by buying this Sky or media narrative of there being just one United. Sorry, that these there are other Uniteds too. So be specific.
Anyway, that is all the time that we have.
It
This
wasn't a
episode.
threat. Just kidding, man. Seriously.
Thank you so much, Ajay.
Welcome, sir.
Amazing episode. We'll be back next week because the 2 to 5 race, as it has come to be known as, is super exciting. And we have so much to cover.
Absolutely. Bye bye, folks.